Because as pediatric neurologists or as pediatric physicians, if you miss that, we are ruining the child. Because we are dubbing the child as MCP. That should not be done. The common mistakes are, we don't look into the risk factor. Child doesn't have any risk factor in the perinatal period. There's a regression of skills. You treat, the child becomes worsen. Then that is not cerebral palsy. Either the child has not improved or improved without treatment. The child loses a milestone, that is not cerebral palsy. The third thing is pure neurological sign. For example, instead of like weakness or dystonia or sensory, there is only one part of the central nervous system which is affected. Then it is doubtful that the child has cerebral palsy. It may not be CP. Then the presence of dysmorphism, presence of optic atrophy, and a normal neuroimaging. Because there is a perinatal insult or a perinatal hypoxia, that is invariably should have an effect in the imaging. You have a normal imaging and still you can't make a diagnosis of a cerebrospasm. These are overall guidelines. There are exceptions. Next slide. Now, how will you classify cerebral palsy? The three types are spastic type, dystonic type, ataxic type. Now, I mentioned these are the other alternative diagnoses. So, for example, a spastic CP we made a diagnosis, but actually they can have a spinal dysraphism, which is presenting as an abnormal neural tube defect from birth, and it is abnormal neural tube closure and the low limb spasticity. If you make the diagnosis, look into the back of the child. Tell the child, look into whether there is a spina bifida occulta with a tuft of hair, and if you meningocele. If you make it out, you can send the child for surgery, and that will be changing the life of the child. Instead of treating it as cerebral palsy, a simple surgery can correct the problem. The these are all other conditions. Just keep in mind. You can just take a snap. You just keep these things in mind. Similarly, dystonia, an abnormal posture, we tend to make a diagnosis of dystonic cerebral palsy. Usually due to kernicterus or a neonatal jaundice or a birth asphyxia, which has caused abnormal posturing and twisting of the hands. The other conditions are dopa responsive dystonia. In fact, Sarah has one case. Dopa responsive. It is a small dose of levodopa, and that can give dramatic improvement in the child. That is called dopa responsive dystonia, mitochondrial disease, Leishman. This is a metabolic hyperglycemic disease. Wilson is another treatable disorder, accumulation of copper, particularly in the basal ganglia, that produces abnormal postures mimicking cerebral palsy. GLUT1, there is a glucose transporter deficiency. These are all interesting inborn errors of metabolisms which can mimic cerebral palsy. And ataxia, these are all some symptoms like Friedreich's ataxia, ataxia telangiectasia. There will be a leash of vessels in the conjunctiva. The child will be unsteady from birth. It may mimic a cerebral palsy. Next slide. So I will give you this case history, sir, to make things interesting. All of you listen. You can give your input. So this is a 40-day-old child. He came to me. The complaint till 40 days the child was normal. He had irritable crying, going on crying incessantly. The mother had difficulty consoling the baby. After a few days, the child had an abnormal posture, become stiffening, particularly in the evenings. And the stiffening of the hands, legs, the child started looking up and the posturing like a bow, wheel and so on. Click on see, more in the evenings. And these, you can click on that video. These episodes became prolonged and the posture was almost permanent. Child is crying. You don't have the audio. It's irritable. It's so difficult to console. You see the posture? The toe is extended, dorsiflexed, plantar flexed. Yes, sir. And then internally rotated. The head is going back. Child is constantly crying like this for hours together, inconsolable. Towards the evening, from evening till night, we disturb all the neighbors. Nobody in the house will be able to sleep. The audio is mild, otherwise the whole will be so loud crying, high-pitched crying. And this is going on for days, we are not able to diagnose.
Crying is due to some sort of feeling of pain or...
This is what he is doing, the same crying.
Out of irritation.
Or some irritation like that. Irritable crying, not taking feeds. And this posturing. And the child was normal till 40 days. Birth was normal. Everything went off well. So, as I told you, can anybody make a guess? Would you like to call this as dystonic cerebral palsy? The child had a normal delivery. Parents are consanguineous. So, can it be? Categorizing, yeah, possibly. Good. Some sort of, she is thinking some sort of a genetic disorder. 5P minus. Anybody? Correct. Anything else goes through your mind? As I told you, there are some red flags here, no? The child had a normal delivery, there was no perinatal problem. So you can't call this a cerebral palsy. We can call, exceptionally. The consanguineous parents, there's a family history. And the problem is crescendo, it's been worsening day by day. This cannot happen in a cerebral palsy. In cerebral palsy, the perinatal period there will be some sort of a hardship, some difficulty. And the problem will be static. You can't have a child worsening day by day and call it a cerebral palsy. Next slide. So we have to evaluate further the differential diagnosis for this sort of a dystonia. We have to think of inborn errors of metabolism, some drug-induced problems, some infections in the basal ganglia. Keep these things in mind and accordingly investigate. This child routine investigations, ammonia, lactate, the metabolic parameters are normal. The advanced metabolic, inborn error metabolic, that profile picked up increased phenylacetic acid excretion in the urine, indicating it is a case of phenylketonuria. This is an inborn error of metabolism, causing accumulation of phenylalanine in the blood, and this phenylalanine becomes toxic. Phenylalanine is a normal essential amino acid which everybody are taking in food. Pulses, legumes, all contain phenylalanine. When we consume, we normally excrete it in urine. But in this child, because of the absence of enzyme, phenylalanine hydroxylase, which converts phenylalanine to tyrosine. So phenylalanine is getting accumulated in the blood. Whatever phenylalanine the baby is taking from the mother's milk, it is getting accumulated. It is not converted next to the level of tyrosine, and from tyrosine it is not converted into DOPA. DOPA is nothing but dopamine. Dopamine is required to maintain a proper posture and movement. So since phenylalanine is not converted, two problems are happening. One is phenylalanine is getting accumulated and dopamine is not formed. And because of lack of dopamine, the child develops a movement disorder like in Parkinson's. So this is the basis also of dopa responsive dystonia, which is a similar condition like phenylketonuria, where there is abnormal posturing with diurnal variation. So here there is an accumulation of phenylalanine because of this enzymatic defect, because of inborn error of metabolism. And the good thing is it is treatable. I have done a very simple thing. Next slide. I have just restricted phenylalanine in the diet. We give special formula which is devoid of phenylalanine. Click on that video. The same child has recovered now. Child has started to play. The phenylalanine levels in the blood has come down. So this is not cerebral palsy. So we have removed that phenylalanine. The treatment is phenylalanine free formula of food and giving carnosine. This mimics phenylalanine and that replaces the phenylalanine which is already present in the brain, already entered the brain. So that it has removed and the child now the dystonic posturing and the spasm is solved. Next slide. So the idea is to look into the red flags. So when you want to go to the jungle and I ask you, sir, I don't know, I have not seen a zebra, kindly help me how to, give me some clue. I want to make out the zebra all by myself, I want to go to the jungle trek. Can you give me some clues? You say it's a 4-footed animal. It has a tail, it eats grass, it's a herbivore. It's all correct. But unless you use the word it is right, I'm going to miss it. Because if you say it's a 4-footed animal having a tail and taking grazing, I'll bring a cow or a horse. So the clinching feature is the presence of stripes. So whenever you see zebra, you should think of stripes. Similarly, this child is leukodystrophy. The clinching feature is the macrocephaly. You can easily mistake it for cerebral palsy. The stripe or the clinching feature is a large head. It can be due to leukodystrophy or a raised intracranial tension or hydrocephalus. Always be treating it as cerebral palsy. This child is you see the abnormal leash of vessels in the canine diagram. So this is ataxia telangiectasia. It can mimic ataxic cerebral palsy. And that's it. So anybody can guess here? Oh, wonderful. You are great. So that is a clinching point for Wilson's disease, again presenting as a movement disorder. You see this, the child is having a presacral dimple. So the neural tube defect, which you can think it is as a spastic cerebral palsy. This is a self-mutilation, biting. So this child has a hyperuricemia due to abnormal metabolism of uric acid accumulation, and that's self-mutilation. And this child has the abnormal odors in the urine can give clue. Even that child, the mother was telling that the urine has a different smell. So these are the points you should spend time, look into it with a watchful eye, so that we don't miss out these things. Next slide. So how to integrate? I don't know how to integrate with the alternative medicines. I thought from my side, after this we have an interactive session, you can give me some suggestions also. So I saw this child with this spastic diagram, a preterm child. Click here, sir. This child was walking with a scissoring gait due to preterm birth. The legs were crossing each other. Whenever he takes the next step, he is already locked inside. And again he brings this and this gets locked. This is called scissoring gait, it's not dummy. And then the motion, the hands point. Click button. You see that? It's in this direction, but you can see that the leg getting adducted and affecting the progression of the gait. It's called scissoring. But when I examine the child in the lie down, this is happening when he is standing and walking. When the lie down is totally normal, the spasm or the adduction is totally gone. The child is relaxed and something like that. So I thought I'll discuss this with you, some posture or yoga therapy to changing the posture or the tone, spasticity based on the posture of the child. Some asana or yogasana can be taught to the child.
Gravity provoked spasticity.
Yes, sir. Gravity provoked, excellent, that's the correct word. But once the gravity is eliminated, you saw the hand, the legs are totally, you can think with that time. Next thing.
No city malformation.
No, sir, no solution. Then about diet, sometimes ketogenic diet you can advise. What diet you use for children with epilepsy? We generally suggest ketogenic diet. Is there any special diet which you can discuss? Then any diet for autism. Some parents they are very anxious, they are asked. You can discuss these things in this session. Next slide. So this is I've given you overall outline of pediatric neurology. This is the flower which I very much like. We call passion flower. From a distance it looks very ordinary, like just like a normal flower. But when you take a close-up shot, you see the beauty, the symmetry, the color, three different types of colors in the petal, and it's arranged with the beauty of that and the symmetry. Very fantastic. Like the same way, pediatric neurology is an amazing science. From a distance, it looks like a little bit boring. When you go in that, analyze each child, it will be very interesting. It's a passion, it's a love for the subject which takes you to the next level. And it will bear fruit. These are the passion fruits. Thank you so much.
Everybody try to put in a session. Okay. So we expect some questions. So or word you put the answer, but now you do a lot of pediatricians are here, so you have to ask questions. Red type of question only no clear question question. So you have to ask some questions or destinations are so you can ask some ideas. What are the areas where we have work? The sodium alcohol liver failure. Suppose patient dose increase existing medication efficacy you can ask such questions. You can ask a lot of questions. You can yoga. So we can ask questions.
Anything what are related to this topic or may not be compared to this topic. So whether in the case we can't just tell me. See,